We are going to talk about a little bit about tree inventories, and then we're going to go into a feature on the statewide application that can be used by any municipality or any tree manager. And for those of you in Washington State, you can still use it as well, or any other state. There's no restrictions on it as well. So let's talk briefly about tree inventories. I have no notes, just going to wing it, and talk about the software itself. About your tree inventories, you can't manage what you don't measure. So I talk with urban foresters from coast to coast, and Oregon's somewhere in the middle in terms of municipal tree inventories. We have some municipalities that do manage their trees, and some that have a paper copy, and some that have nothing going on whatsoever. I give us kind of a C- right now compared to other states and how they're keeping track of their trees. So if you're not being able to measure your trees, you don't know what you have, you don't know how you're going to be treating them, caring for them, species diversity, all these things that are kind of metrics of your inventory. Tree inventories are not one size fits all. You know, what information about your trees is desired to answer your most pressing management questions, and then what is possible with the available resources and funding. It hasn't been mentioned yet, but I'm sure all of you saw the $1.5 billion for urban forestry greening. The federal government is really looking through using urban forestry as a tool for equity and tree equity, and so there is quite a bit of funding out there. Today was the first deadline for municipalities to apply. This is a 10-year funding cycle, so there will be a lot more funding opportunities out there, and the state of Oregon has also received $3.75 million for urban greening efforts, and this is going to go to a lot of things, including tree inventories, canopy assessments, management plans, wood reuse. So a tree inventory, you know, you don't have to go in all the way and do the entire inventory at once, though you can. A full inventory is comprehensive. It measures the health and needs of the urban forest. You're going to collect quite a bit of information, nearly all of it, and you're going to have kind of the biggest hurdle to overcome right then and there. But you can also do a phased inventory. A lot of communities, if they don't get the funding they're looking for, they might break up their inventory into different segments, and that can be whatever is important for the community. We saw in Colorado, community who went for their most disadvantaged communities first to inventory their trees. They felt these communities are going to be the hardest hit by EAD. They're not likely to have treatment, so they need to know what they have and then go into other communities at different phases. It's going to have a little bit more understanding of what the financial burden will be distributed throughout, and you can kind of extrapolate from there. And at its smallest size, you can do a sample inventory or just a random selection of trees. We've also seen this. It doesn't have to be a lot of trees, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 trees, but something that you think is going to be a sample representative of your community. And this can help, what we've seen do, this can help kind of make the case for more funding to show this is what we have. Clearly we need more information and more money to take care of these things. So who performs the inventory? You can have professionals that are going to collect pretty much all the data fields that you might want to have. The diameter, species, condition, management need, observations, growing space, risk assessment, priority needs. Professionals are going to gather this information, but this does cost a little bit more money. Conversely, you can also use volunteers. City of Portland, very successful in managing volunteers and citizen science to collect trees. You're not probably going to get as much information collected. Volunteers aren't typically tree risk assessors, even good at tree ID for that matter. So doing a little bit of training and getting this going. I'm just talking to some folks in Springfield, Oregon, who are going to be using volunteers to collect as many trees as they can. Hopefully I can go down and help out with some little bit of tree ID. So that being said, the statewide application does exist for municipalities to use. This is the statewide application, pg-cloud.com/Oregon. Chrome works really well because it will locate you. We have a GIS location that will bring you right to where you are. You can use other ones. Chrome works pretty well. If you go to the statewide application, it's going to show up with the landing page first, and one part of that landing page is currently cut off unless you turn your phone horizontal, you'll see tree map, add a tree, and more resources. And more resources is where you can go to sign up to be added to the statewide application if you are a municipality. However, if you're a nonprofit or another organization that wants to utilize a statewide app, you merely just need approval or an agreement by someone at the city that says you can go and collect tree data for your community. That's part of what ODF has set up for the tree plotter application. Really use this tool to identify maybe blind spots in your urban forest if you have an inventory. So, as I mentioned at the top, there's a lot more funding in there for urban forestry. This is going to be a decade of great opportunities to plant and monitor and write management plans about your urban forest, because as everything we talked about, I'm preaching to the choir here, the trees add a lot of benefit to our communities, and so we need to know what we have in order to manage it.